I was walking back from the break room with my second cup of coffee when I heard my own voice coming through the half-open conference room door. Except it wasn't my voice. It was Brandon Collins, our 34-year-old CEO, delivering word for word the presentation I'd given to investors 18 months earlier. The predictive modeling system adapts in real time based on patient data patterns, Brandon was saying, his Stanford MBA confidence filling the room. It anticipates complications before they happen, adjusts treatment protocols automatically, and reduces hospital readmission rates by 23%. Those were my exact words, not paraphrased, not summarized. My words coming out of his mouth like he'd written them himself. My name is Patrick Walker. I'm 49 years old, which in Silicon Valley terms makes me practically ancient. For the past 12 years, I've been the senior healthcare analytics architect at HealthTech Systems, a company that started in a cramped Portland office and grew into something that now takes up half a downtown building. I didn't just work there. I built the foundation that everything else stood on. I stepped closer to the doorway and looked inside. There was Brandon at the front of the room, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment, gesturing at slides I recognized immediately. My slides, the layout, the font choices, the specific bullet points, everything was mine. My name just wasn't on them anymore. The 12 board members sat in neat rows, nodding along as Brandon painted a picture of innovation and vision. Behind him on the screen was the system architecture diagram I'd drawn by hand on a whiteboard back when we were still calling ourselves a startup and pretending that 60-hour weeks were a choice instead of survival. This infrastructure doesn't just collect data, Brandon continued. It interprets it. It predicts complications 48 hours before they manifest clinically. We're literally saving lives with mathematics. He wasn't wrong about that part. The system did save lives. I knew because I got emails from doctors and nurses telling me so. But hearing him describe it like he understood the architecture, like he'd been there when I was debugging recursive loops at 3 a.m., made my stomach tighten. I'd been feeling increasingly invisible over the past year. Younger executives questioning my legacy approaches, comments about traditional engineering mindset when what they really meant was old. At 49, I was supposed to be hitting my career peak, but instead I felt like I was being managed out by kids who thought experience was a liability. I took a step back from the doorway. I didn't want to be seen standing there like some kind of corporate eavesdropper holding my coffee mug with "World's Okayest Dad" printed on the side, a Father's Day gift from my 17-year-old son, Jason. "Not in there today?" a quiet voice said beside me. I turned to find Jessica Mills, who'd been my intern 3 years ago and now worked as Brandon's executive assistant. She had that look on her face, part sympathy, part guilt, like she knew something I didn't want to hear. "Apparently not," I said. Jessica looked toward the conference room, then back at me. "Brandon told me yesterday you'd be co-presenting the merger overview. Plans change, I guess." She didn't say anything else, but I could see the discomfort in the way she shifted her weight. Everyone knew something was off. They just didn't know what to do about it. I walked back to my office, my footsteps muffled by the thick carpet they'd installed during last year's culture enhancement initiative. Corporate speak for, we raised enough money to stop looking like a scrappy startup. My office was small, tucked into a corner with a window that overlooked a parking garage. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Or at least it had been. I set my coffee down and opened my laptop. 37 unread emails, mostly system notifications and policy updates I'd already read. But one email caught my attention. The subject line was blank and the sender was listed as calendar-sync. Meeting invitation. Patrick Walker. Time, 1 p.m. Location, conference room 7B. Attendees, Brandon Collins, Rebecca Foster, HR. Subject, none. No agenda, no explanation. Just a cold notification that I was expected somewhere in 2 hours with the CEO and someone from Human Resources. You don't get called into a meeting with the CEO and HR without a subject line unless the subject is you. And when a company is about to finalize a $980 million merger with one of the largest healthcare conglomerates in the country, you don't keep people around who might complicate things. I closed the laptop and thought about my family. Emily, my 20-year-old daughter, was halfway through her sophomore year at Northwestern. Tuition was $60,000 a year, and we'd been counting on my salary and upcoming stock options to carry us through. Jason was a high school senior applying to engineering programs, dreaming of following in my footsteps. Sarah, my wife of 22 years, taught 7th grade English and made a teacher's salary, which meant if I lost this job, we'd be in serious trouble. At 12:58 p.m., I walked into conference room 7B. The room was smaller than where Brandon had been presenting earlier. No windows, no projection screen, just a wooden table, 6 chairs, and fluorescent lighting that made everyone look slightly sick. Brandon was already seated, his jacket draped over his chair. He looked relaxed, like this was just another item on his schedule. Next to him sat Rebecca Foster, the HR director, a woman in her early 50s with short gray hair and the kind of neutral expression that came from years of delivering bad news. "Patrick," Brandon said, gesturing to the empty chair. "Thanks for coming. Have a seat." I sat down and folded my hands on the table. Didn't say anything. Just waited. Rebecca opened a manila folder with my name on it. "We wanted to meet with you today to discuss organizational changes as we move forward with the merger." I nodded. Still didn't speak. Brandon leaned forward. "As you know, the merger with Obelisk Health is huge for us. $980 million. It's going to open up incredible opportunities for growth, expansion, and innovation, but it also means we need to streamline our leadership structure for maximum efficiency." "Streamline," I repeated softly. "Exactly," Brandon said, missing the edge in my tone. "We've been evaluating our roles, and we've determined that some positions will be consolidated to improve decision-making and reduce redundancy." Rebecca picked up where he left off. "After careful consideration, we've decided that your position as Senior Healthcare Analytics Architect will be eliminated as part of this restructuring." There it was, 12 years of my life reduced to corporate speak about consolidation and efficiency. I looked at Brandon, who met my gaze without flinching, though I noticed the way his fingers drummed lightly against the table. "Eliminated," I said. "Not reassigned, not restructured. Eliminated." "We're offering a generous severance package," Rebecca said quickly, sliding a document across the table. 3 months' salary, 6 months of benefits continuation, and a strong letter of recommendation. I didn't touch the paper. I just looked at it, at the clean, sterile language that reduced 12 years of my life to a transaction. "You're announcing the merger this afternoon," I said, my voice calm. "I saw the draft yesterday. Press release goes out at 4 p.m. Brandon's expression didn't change, but I saw the slight tightening around his eyes. "That's correct. And you're telling me this now?" 2 hours before the announcement. "We felt it was important to have this conversation before the news became public," Rebecca said. "We wanted to give you time to process before I became a distraction." I finished. There was silence. Then Brandon said, his tone softer now, almost apologetic. "Patrick, this wasn't personal. You've done incredible work here. But as we integrate with Obelisk, we need leadership that aligns with their operational model. It's about fit, not performance." "Fit," I echoed. "Yes." I stood up slowly, didn't pick up the severance package, didn't shake his hand. "I'll need to collect my things." "Of course," Rebecca replied. "We've arranged for someone to escort you. Your access credentials will be deactivated at 5 p.m. I walked out without another word. The hallway felt surreal, like I was watching myself from outside my body. 12 years reduced to a 15-minute conversation. When I reached my office, Jessica was waiting in the doorway, her expression stricken. "I'm so sorry," she said quietly. "I didn't know they were going to—" "It's not your fault," I said, stepping past her into my office. The space felt smaller now, like it had already started forgetting I'd ever been here. I opened my desk drawers one by one, pulling out the few personal items I'd left. A flash drive with backup files, a notebook filled with handwritten notes from early design meetings, a photo of my team from 5 years ago when we still felt like a team. But before I packed anything else, I walked to the bookshelf in the corner. Most of it was empty now. I'd been quietly taking things home over the past few months, some unconscious preparation for exactly this moment. Behind the remaining books was a slim folder I hadn't touched in years. I pulled it out and opened it carefully. United States Patent and Trademark Office. Patent application number, US 11247-892B2. Title, Adaptive Healthcare Data Processing System with Predictive Response Algorithms. Inventor, Patrick Walker. Filing, date, March 15, 2018. Status, active. I'd filed this patent 5 years ago when HealthTech was still finding its footing, and I was still naive enough to believe that doing good work would naturally lead to recognition. I'd paid for the filing fees myself, $1,600 I could barely afford at the time. I'd written the technical claims myself, spending weekends researching patent law and formatting requirements. I'd done it all quietly, not because I was planning for this moment, but because I'd learned something important early in my career. In corporate America, if you don't protect your own work, no one else will. For years, I'd let HealthTech use the technology freely. I'd never asked for licensing fees, never brought up the patent in contract negotiations. I'd believed that if I kept my head down, focused on making the system better, worked those 60-hour weeks without complaint, the recognition would come naturally. My name would be on the patents, the papers, the presentations. I was wrong. I folded the patent document carefully and slid it into my bag along with my laptop and the few personal items I'd decided to keep. Everything else, the books, the awards, the company swag, could stay. I didn't need any of it. By the time I walked out of the building carrying my small cardboard box, it was 3:47 p.m. The press release would go live in 13 minutes. Instead of going straight to my car, I walked 3 blocks to a coffee shop I used to visit during the early days, back when HealthTech was still scrappy and uncertain, and I still believed I was building something permanent. I ordered black coffee and sat by the window, watching people walk by on their way to places that still wanted them. At exactly 4 p.m., my phone buzzed with a news alert. Breaking: HealthTech Systems announces $980 million merger with Obelisk Health. I opened the article and skimmed through it. The usual corporate language about strategic partnerships, innovative technology, transformative impact on healthcare delivery. Halfway down the page was a quote from Brandon Collins. "This merger represents the culmination of years of groundbreaking work by our team. The predictive healthcare platform we've built is unlike anything else in the industry, and we're excited to bring it to a global scale through our partnership with Obelisk. Our team, our platform, not a single mention of the person who'd actually built it." I reached into my bag and pulled out the folder. I opened it slowly, carefully, and looked down at the patent document. The official seal, the filing date, my name printed in bold letters at the top. Inventor, Patrick Walker. They'd forgotten. Or maybe they'd never known. Either way, the system they were selling for $980 million, the platform they were promising to scale globally, the technology that Brandon had just claimed as theirs, it was mine, and they were about to find out. I didn't go straight home. Instead, I sat in that coffee shop for another hour, staring at the patent document and thinking about what came next. The smart thing would be to take the severance, update my resume, and start looking for another job. At 49, with Emily's tuition and Jason's college applications looming, I couldn't afford to be unemployed for long. But every time I looked at that patent document, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Clarity. When I finally got home, Sarah was in the kitchen grading papers at the dining table. She looked up when I walked in, took one look at my face, and set down her red pen. "What happened?" she asked. I told her everything. The presentation, the firing, the merger announcement. When I finished, I pulled out the patent document and set it on the table next to her stack of essays. Sarah picked it up and read it carefully. She was quiet for a long moment. "You never told me about this," she said finally. "I never thought it would matter. I filed it as insurance, just in case. But I never imagined they'd actually try to steal it." She looked at the document again, then at me. "What are you thinking about doing?" "I don't know yet. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything." Emily walked into the kitchen then, home from college for a long weekend. She grabbed a water bottle from the fridge and noticed the tension. "Everything okay?" she asked. I looked at Sarah, who nodded slightly. "I got fired today," I said, "right before they announced a billion-dollar merger built on technology I created." Emily sat down at the table. "They fired you? Why? Because they needed to streamline. Because I don't fit their operational model. Because I'm 49 and they wanted younger leadership." I gestured at the patent. "And because they thought they could take credit for my work." Sometimes the most important thing you can do in your career isn't building something great. It's making sure you can prove you built it. Jason came downstairs then, probably drawn by the serious tone of our voices. When I explained the situation again, he looked confused. "But if you invented it and you have the patent, doesn't that mean they can't use it?" he asked. "Legally, that's exactly what it means," I said. "But they're counting on me not doing anything about it." Sarah was studying the patent document again. "What would it mean if you fought this? Financially, I mean. I don't know. It could mean nothing. They might have good lawyers who find a way around it. Or it could mean... I paused, thinking about the $980 million number. It could mean we never have to worry about college tuition again. What about the risk? Emily asked. If you take them to court and lose, couldn't they sue you back or something? Maybe, but I've been thinking about that for the past hour, and here's what I keep coming back to. They fired me 2 hours before announcing they were selling my technology for nearly $1 billion. They erased my name from everything. They let Brandon stand up there and claim credit for 5 years of my life. I looked around the table at my family. I think the bigger risk is doing nothing. Sarah reached across the table and took my hand. What do you need from us? I need you to know that this might get complicated, and expensive, and messy. Dad, Jason said quietly, you taught me that if someone steals your homework, you don't just let them get away with it. I laughed despite myself. It's a little more complicated than homework, but yeah, that's basically what this is. The next morning, I called Michael Stevens, a patent attorney I'd worked with years ago on a contract issue. He was sharp, methodical, and most importantly, he understood intellectual property law. Patrick Walker, he said when he answered. It's been a while. What can I do for you? I need help with a patent dispute. Tell me everything. I explained about the patent, the system, the merger, the firing 2 hours before the announcement. Michael didn't interrupt. He just listened, and I could hear him taking notes. Do they know you own the patent? He asked finally. No, I never brought it up. I let them use the technology because I believed they'd do the right thing, but they didn't. Patrick, if what you're telling me is accurate, then HealthTech is operating on technology they don't legally own. And if they've just transferred that technology to Obelisk as part of a merger, both companies are now exposed to significant legal and financial risk. What do I do? Let me draft a formal notice. We'll send it to both legal teams. Polite, factual, and absolutely clear. They're using patented technology without authorization, and they need to address it immediately. How long will that take? I can have it ready by tomorrow morning. Do it. The letter went out at 9 a.m. the next day. 2 pages long, no threats, just facts. This letter serves as formal notice that the core technology underlying the HealthTech Systems analytics platform is protected by active intellectual property rights held exclusively by Mr. Patrick Walker. Patent number US 11247-892B2 covers the adaptive data processing algorithms and predictive response systems currently in use by HealthTech Systems and referenced in recent public statements regarding the merger with Obelisk Health. Mr. Walker has not granted licensing rights for commercial use of this technology. We request immediate cessation of unauthorized use and are available to discuss licensing terms. Attached to the letter was a copy of the patent, the original filing documents, and a screenshot of the press release where Brandon had claimed the platform as ours. By 11 a.m., my phone started ringing. The first call was from Rebecca Foster. I didn't answer. The second call was from a number I didn't recognize. HealthTech's legal department, asking me to return the call at my earliest convenience to discuss a matter of mutual interest. I didn't call back. The third call came at 2 p.m. It was Brandon. I stared at his name on my phone screen for a long moment, then answered. Patrick, he said, and I could hear the strain in his voice, the careful control. I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. I don't think there has. We received a letter from your attorney this morning. It claims you hold a patent on our core technology. That's correct. There was a pause. If you held a patent, why didn't you ever mention it? I did mention it. It's in the system documentation. I uploaded it to the server 3 years ago. You just never looked. I heard him exhale sharply. Patrick, this is serious. If you're asserting ownership over the platform, that has massive implications for the merger. I know. What do you want? Recognition, acknowledgement, and fair compensation for the years I let you use my work without paying for it. We paid you a salary. You paid me to manage development. You didn't pay me for the intellectual property. Silence. Have your lawyers contact Michael Stevens, I said, and hung up. The next week, I found myself sitting in a glass-walled conference room on the 32nd floor of a downtown law firm, facing 4 of the most expensive lawyers in Portland. Michael sat beside me with just the patent file and a legal pad. That was it. David versus Goliath, except David had a slingshot made of intellectual property law. The lead attorney, a man named Carter Wells with silver hair and a smile that probably cost as much as my car, opened the meeting with practiced corporate charm. "Mr. Walker, thank you for taking the time to meet with us. We're hoping we can resolve this matter quickly and amicably." "That depends on what you consider amicable," Michael said evenly. Carter's smile tightened just a fraction. "Let's start with the basics. You're claiming ownership of the core technology used by HealthTech systems?" "Not claiming," I said. "I own it. Patent number US 112478992B2, filed in 2018, active and enforceable." Their patent expert, a nervous-looking man in his 40s, leaned forward. "Mr. Walker, while it's true you filed the application, our understanding is that you developed this technology while employed by HealthTech. Under standard employment agreements, intellectual property created during employment typically belongs to the employer." "Typically," Michael said, sliding a document across the table. "But not in this case. This is Mr. Walker's original employment agreement from 2011. You'll notice there's no intellectual property assignment clause." Carter picked up the document and I watched his expression shift slightly as he read it. Even so, Mr. Walker allowed HealthTech to use the technology for years without objection. That could be interpreted as an implied license. It could, Michael agreed. But an implied license doesn't mean perpetual, unrestricted, or transferable. And it certainly doesn't give HealthTech the right to sell that technology to a third party as part of a $980 million merger without compensating the actual owner. The silence stretched for a full minute. Finally, Carter asked, "What are you looking for?" Michael slid another document across the table. "These are our terms. A retroactive licensing agreement covering the past 5 years of use, calculated at industry standard rates for proprietary technology of this significance. Going forward, if HealthTech and Obelisk wish to continue using the technology, they'll need a separate licensing agreement with clearly defined terms." Carter opened the document. I watched his eyes move down the page until he reached the number at the bottom. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "This is substantial," he said carefully. "So is $980 million, I replied. 3 weeks later, we had a deal. The terms were confidential, but the number was $4.2 million up front, plus ongoing royalties of 3% on any revenue generated by the platform. It wasn't everything we'd asked for, but it was close. More importantly, it was acknowledgement, buried in legal language but real nonetheless, that I had created something valuable, something that couldn't just be taken. When Michael called to tell me HealthTech had accepted our terms, I was sitting at the kitchen table helping Jason with his calculus homework. Sarah was grading papers, and Emily was on video chat with friends back at Northwestern. After I hung up, I looked around at my family and said, "We did it." "What does that mean exactly?" Sarah asked, setting down her pen. "It means Emily graduates debt-free. It means Jason can pick any engineering program he wants without worrying about cost. It means we pay off the mortgage." I paused. "And it means I never have to work for anyone who doesn't respect what I built ever again." Emily's video call went quiet. "Dad, are you serious?" "Dead serious." Jason looked up from his textbook. "Does this mean I can stop stressing about scholarship applications?" I laughed. "You should still apply for scholarships. But yeah, you can stop stressing." 6 months after the settlement was finalized, I used part of the money to start Walker Analytics. Small office, exposed brick walls, uneven floors that reminded me of the early HealthTech days, but without the corporate politics. Jessica left HealthTech to join me as operations manager. Anthony Davis, a software engineer who'd been one of my best developers, came aboard as lead architect. We built a new kind of predictive healthcare system. Simpler, faster, more transparent than anything HealthTech had ever produced. But more importantly, we built it right. Clear intellectual property agreements, fair equity distribution, and a culture where good work got recognized by the people who actually did it. Within a year, we signed our first client, a mid-sized hospital network that had grown frustrated with HealthTech's platform and wanted something more reliable. Then another client, then another. By year 2, we were profitable. By year 3, we had a waiting list. HealthTech, meanwhile, started losing its edge. The platform I'd built began to decay because nobody left at the company really understood how it worked. They tried to update it, scale it, improve it, but every change introduced new problems. Clients began leaving, slowly at first, then faster. Some of them came to us. 4 years after I'd walked out of HealthTech carrying a cardboard box, Walker Analytics was acquired by a healthcare technology consortium for $180 million. Not $980 million, but it was mine. every dollar of it. And more importantly, it was built by people who believed in what we were creating. I stayed on as Chief Technology Officer after the acquisition, made sure everyone who'd helped build Walker Analytics was recognized, compensated, and given equity that actually meant something. Jessica became VP of Operations. Anthony became Chief Engineer. We hired a dozen more people who cared about building something that mattered. The best part? Last month, Emily graduated from Northwestern summa cum laude, debt-free, and started a job at a biotech startup in Chicago. Jason got accepted to MIT's engineering program with a partial academic scholarship, not because he needed it financially, but because he earned it. Sarah and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary by taking a 2-week trip to Italy, something we'd talked about for years, but never thought we could afford. Sometimes I think about that morning when I heard my own words coming out of Brandon Collins' mouth. It would have been easy to let that moment define everything that came after, to let the anger and betrayal consume me. Instead, I chose something else. I chose to build something that was undeniably, legally, completely mine. Something that nobody could ever take credit for except the people who actually created it. And that made all the difference.